we're gonna be replacing the timing chain. Let's get started. First thing you wanna do is make sure we can get the crank pulley bolt off. So let's jack the vehicle up, put it on jack stands, we'll take the tire off. Then we wanna pull this cover off. It's two 10mm bolts up here. And up front, there's some clips. Let's grab those. So we got these 3 clips. Having a pair of pliers like this really helps. We'll just get in there and pop away. There we go. Huh, 2 came out at once. Sweet. And that one just fell out. Hey, nice. So those clips were pretty old and brittle. We'll put new clips in when we put everything back together. Now, they do make a tool to hold the crank from spinning, but we're gonna use our impact with a 19mm. There we go. Now that we got this off, we're gonna start from up top and work our way back down. I'm just gonna thread this back in. We'll need it to set our timing to top dead center. We'll start by removing our engine cover, 10mm. Set that aside. Remove our ignition coil plugs. Just pinch and pull off. Pull out our ignition coils. We'll remove our electrical harness. It's 2 10mm nuts. Pop that up, set it aside. Take our ignition coils, wiggle them and pull them off. Now would be a good time to change your spark plugs if you need it. Let's pull off our hoses. Just pinch and pull this. There we go. Same back here, pinch and pull. The harness can move out of the way a little more. We'll disconnect this big harness. There's a 10mm nut here. This one, we're gonna keep the bracket, but we're gonna pull the harness off the bracket. Once I get it off, I'll show you how to do that. There we go. Let me zoom you in a little. So this retainer, just flip it over and I can show you on the bottom, there's this tiny little tab here that you pull out on, just like that. And that releases it from our bracket and then we just slide it off. It's that easy. That's it. Everything else are perimeter bolts and then 2 in the middle, 10mm. Oh, I lied. There is one more bracket right here for this harness. Just this little nut. Pull this little bracket up. There we go. And they threw in one 12mm. All right, this should lift right off. If you need to, you could tap it with a rubber mallet to break it free. There we go. Okay, let's pull it up. Move stuff out of the way as you need to. There. With the cover off, let's go ahead, we'll set our timing, and then we'll just lay the valve cover back on so dirt and debris don't get in it while we work around it. Down below, I'm just turning the crank. And let me zoom you in. On the exhaust side, we have that little notch there pointing up. On the intake side, we have this notch that goes all the way through. There's a couple different notches that look like this, but there's only one that goes all the way through. We want that pointing straight up. And then in between, hopefully I can show you, right there is a little dot that says EXH, and that lines up with another dot on the intake side, so they face each other. Now our timing's all set. Just gonna set this on real quick. We'll pull it back off when it's time. Now let's pull off our serpentine belt. Right there is our belt tensioner. It's a 19mm. I'm gonna use a socket with a long breaker bar, and we're gonna turn it clockwise. Turn it nice and slow. There we go, it bottoms out. Take our belt off. Perfect. And just slide it off the rest of the way. We're gonna tackle our alternator next. Before we do that, we'll go ahead and disconnect our negative battery cable. It's just a 10mm. And we'll tuck that aside so it won't remake contact. I'm gonna reposition you for the alternator. We're gonna disconnect our VVT solenoid connector. Should just be a pinch and pull. That one's having a little trouble. I'm just gonna take a little angled pick and get it from the front side and just lift up on that tab. There we go. We got our alternator plug here in the front. Pinch and pull. Again, I'm gonna use the pick just for a little assistance. There, got it. Little retainer on the front, just like on this side, there's a little tab you wanna push. That'll unlock it or release it, and you just pull it aside. Our last is this gray connector here. It should be a nut underneath. We'll just pop this away. There we go. 10mm nut. I'm just gonna put the nut right back on so we don't lose it. I believe that's it for all our electrical connectors. There is one more down below to our AC compressor. We'll just disconnect it so we don't accidentally break it or pulling the alternator out. Should just be a pinch and pull. There we go. Okay, I think that's it. Right here up top is a 12 millimeter. And the bottom one is a 14 millimeter. Easy to see. Our whole alternator should be able to wiggle out. There we go. And then out the side here. Whew. Let's tackle the engine mount next. We'll want a jack underneath the oil pan supporting it. You could put a wooden block or a really thick towel in between the top of the jack and the bottom of your oil pan. All our bolts are 14 millimeter. We're gonna do this one for last. Let me show you, there's actually 2 nuts underneath this bracket. You can see right here is a nut. We have one just on the other side of it. So I'm gonna get that from underneath. I'm gonna leave this on for last, just for that little extra safety. So from underneath, still a 14 millimeter. Now I'll get this top one. The engine should drop just a little. Oh, not too bad at all. Now we can snake this out. I'm gonna lower the engine all the way. There we go. We can remove the jack. There's enough other mounts holding this in place. So it's nice and secure. Let's keep plugging away. We have the engine side bracket for our motor mount. Looks like 1, 2 bolts. Maybe a 14 millimeter. There's a third one behind our belt tensioner. Let me show you. Right there's our third bracket bolt. So what we'll do is remove that bolt right there, and that'll get our tensioner out of the way. That's a 17 millimeter. I'm gonna jack up the engine just a little to see if I can clear the frame. It's just about as far as it'll go. I might be clear, almost, but not quite. I'm afraid to keep jacking up on it. There, just a little more. That was all I needed. Got the bolt and a 12 millimeter on top of the tensioner. I'm gonna use a ratcheting wrench. There. Our tensioner can come off and out. I can get that last bolt here. We're gonna make our water pump one of the last things we remove because a lot of coolant will come out. We just don't want that dripping on us while we're doing other things. So let's go under. We have our crank pulley we can finish pulling off and our power steering pump. This is already out, so we'll just zip it off again. And it shouldn't be pressed on, it should slide right out. Nice and easy. Let me show you our power steering pump. Hopefully you can see that, but they are just 2 through bolts. The nuts are on this side, the bolt heads are on the other side. That's all we have to get off. We'll push this aside, just out of the way. Hopefully you can see it a little bit. I might be in your way. 14 millimeter. Get this top one, shallow socket. There we go. On the back side, I'm just using a ratcheting wrench. Just gotta feel it. There it is. All right, now I'm just using the ratcheting wrench and I'm turning the whole bolt. Might be able to get it with my fingers now. There, got it. There it is. Just do the same with the bottom. Now it should wiggle out. You may need a little persuasion with the pry bar, just a little pry bar. There we go. This one's just really stuck in there. But it is just those 2 bolts. We're getting it. There we go. Took a little persuasion, but we got it. Now this can just hang here. It doesn't have to come all the way out. While we're down here, let's pull off our crank position sensor. We're just gonna use a 10 millimeter ratcheting wrench. Just wiggle this out. It's a little stuck. Let me get a screwdriver. Still got my pry bar handy. I'll just very gingerly, don't want to break it. Just wiggle it. There we go. There's a little stuck O-ring. We'll replace that O-ring too. It's a little flat. All right, we'll tuck that aside. I think that is it. Let's remove our water pump. I'm just gonna stuff this hole with a rag so no coolant drips in it. Now there shouldn't be any that get in it, but just a precaution. Now there are a couple bolts down here. Let me see, 1, 2, 3, maybe 4 we can get to. We'll just get them from under here real quick. Just break them loose. Once it starts dripping, we'll get out of the way. Get these by hand. I think the rest might be easier to get from up above. So really, I only got 2 from down here, which is okay. Let's go up top. Before removing the water pump, we have the option to pre-drain the coolant. I haven't pre-drained the coolant because it'll all come out when I remove the water pump, and that saves me a step. All the other bolts are nice and easy to get to from up here. Be careful using your electric ratchet so it doesn't get wedged while you're backing it out. See if it'll just wiggle loose. There we go. Nice. We'll just let that drip for a little bit and take a water break. On the top in the back, we have to remove that stud, but in order to get anything on it, there's a little bracket. Let me show you. Maybe it's hard to see. Not sure if you can see, but to the far right, that's that stud. And then to the left of it, there's a little bracket. It's just a 10 millimeter, pull that bracket off, and that'll give us access. Here's that stud we just pulled out, and it's an inverted Torx, E7. If you don't have an inverted Torx, a 5 millimeter will work just the same. Fits on there nice and snug. Now let's pull off our cover bolts. Pull our valve cover back off. For the cover bolts, it's a series of 10 millimeters and a few 12 millimeters. I'm gonna throw a picture on the screen so you can see where they're all located. I'm gonna do it off camera because filming's not gonna be the best anyway. Once I have them all out, I'll turn the camera back on for when we remove the cover. And I think I got all the bolts. One thing I forgot to mention was the tensioner. We wanna pull this out as well. There's just 2 10 millimeter nuts and this slides out. Right here in the front, they give you a spot for a little pry tool. Easy to see. I'm gonna use just a little pry bar, push out on it. There, nice. This RTV can be a little sticky sometimes, but just keep working it. I think that's pretty much it. I believe this comes out the top or the bottom, whichever one is easiest for you. We'll see if it'll just come right out the top here. There we go. We got our tensioner arm, 10 millimeter we'll pull off. Oh, it's a 12, huh? Our tensioner arm is a 12 millimeter. If I can get that by hand, there we go. Nice and easy. And the chain guide is 2 10 millimeters. Wiggle that out, nice. Pull our chain off the top cams. Don't worry if your cams spin on you, not a big deal. Now on the bottom, we just wanna slide everything off together. There we go, perfect. My tone ring and sprocket were stuck together, but they do separate. We're gonna be installing a new sprocket. For prep, we're gonna take a plastic scraper and just scrape off all the old RTV. Get it the best we can. To prep our timing cover, we're gonna do the same thing with a plastic scraper. Just scrape off as much as we can. Just get all of it. A lot of this inside stuff will be really crusty and brittle. I'll take a clean rag and just wipe. Give it a nice preliminary wipe. This thing's been leaking a while, so there's a lot of dirt and crust on the outside. We'll give that a good wipe down too. We'll pop out our front seal. We'll flip it over. Yeah, this thing's just nasty. We'll take a pry bar. Use a screwdriver, I'll just pop this out. Nice. Just clean this off really good. If you're gonna use brake clean to clean this off, now would be a good time before installing our seal. So let me do that real quick. That's a little better. So this isn't 100% necessary, but I like using a little bit of silicone paste. Just put it on the outside, all the way around. Just rub it around, put it on the inside here. And we'll set it in. It'll almost push in, but we're gonna tap it just a little all the way around. Oh, get it centered. There we go. We want it just under flush all the way around. Looks pretty even. Another thing we want to do on this back side is tap these dowels in. That's for our power steering pump. We'll just reset those. There we go. Do that to the other one. Let me get something under it just to lift it a little. There we go. Just flush. Now our power steering pump will slide in a lot easier. That is it here for now. We're ready to install our chain. Then we'll come back and apply RTV. We're only changing the exhaust side cam sprocket. It's a 14 millimeter. We'll put that on, and then they give you a spot right here to hold the camshaft. I'm using a 24 millimeter. It's a smidge big, but it'll work. Just break it loose. Let me switch hands. There we go. Just wiggle this off. There. Install our new one. Just line it up at the keyway. Put in our bolt. This is torqued to 40 foot-pounds. On our new chain, we have 3 colored links. 2 that are the same and 1 that's different. The unique one goes to the crank and 2 are the same, go on the cam. We'll just feed this in, just get it roughly in place. Got our new crank sprocket, we'll throw that on. Let me go underneath. We'll get that set in place and push it all the way back. Let me show you. So with the sprocket slid out, we'll line up that colored link with that dimple, and then we'll push the whole thing back. Let me line it up, there we go. Oh, it popped off. Let me get there. And this little piece right here kind of locks it in place so it won't come off on us. Let's finish up top. Slip in our new guide. These are torqued to 10 foot-pounds. I'm gonna take a 14 millimeter wrench. We have to move this cam just a little to get our marks to line up. There we go. We can install our tensioner arm. Tensioner arm is 14 foot-pounds. Let me show you how it looks. Got our yellow link lined up with our mark, and then this yellow link lined up with that mark. And underneath, just double check, we're still lined up with that mark as well. So now there's a little bit of slack on this side. We want all the slack to be over here on the tensioner side. So I'm gonna turn the crank just a little to tighten up the slack. Now one more look. We want it tight up here, tight on this side, and all our slack right next to that tensioner. So you want this side to be able to move freely and tighten up, then our tensioner will take up all that slack. That's it. If you have all the marks lined up, we're good to put our cover on. The last thing to do on this side is just take some brake clean on a rag, wipe it down really good. We want a nice, clean mating surface for our RTV. Let's hop back over to the cover. So same thing here, we're gonna take a clean rag, put some brake clean on it. Just wipe around anywhere the RTV is gonna go, just nice and clean. Go around one more time. Definitely don't forget this. This is our tone ring for our crank position sensor. It has an F, that's gonna be facing out, and the side without anything faces in towards the engine. I'm gonna slap this on real quick. I'm gonna turn this around to match my computer. I'm gonna flash a picture of the bead routing so you can pause for reference. For the most part, you wanna go to the inside of your bolt holes. Just a nice small bead. I think that's great. I already got the engine side already clean, so I'm ready to slap this on. So the trick is to not scrape our RTV on anything as it goes in. Nice and easy. So far, so good. Perfect, got it set on there. Just gonna look around and make sure. All right, start feeding our bolts in. As far as cure times and when to torque things up, follow the instructions on your RTV bottle. I'm gonna put in our water pump gasket. That would be a good time to get a new water pump. It's also important to put our water pump back on before our RTV dries. This is part of the torquing process. Nice, got the water pump installed. When you are ready to torque, the 12 millimeter bolts are 14 foot-pounds and all the 10 millimeter bolts are 10 foot-pounds. Nice, we're doing pretty good. Got all that torqued down. Now we're gonna install our tensioner. Put a little bit of oil on the O-ring just to help it slide in. Slide that in the back. Now we're just gonna put a little pry bar on the chain, shock it a few times. And that'll set our tensioner. We'll put our engine mount bracket on. These 3 bolts are torqued to 35 foot-pounds. Before we forget, we took that little bolt out on the side here. Put our hose back in. And in retrospect, you probably didn't even have to remove that little bolt. You can just take this upper hose. Once the power steering pump is off the bottom, that hose can really slide down and out of our way. Let's throw our tensioner back on. Gotta jack the engine up a little to get that big bolt through. The big bolt is 51 foot-pounds, and the little one's 21 foot-pounds. Next, we can put our engine mount on and then take our jack out. The long one goes in the front here. 2 nuts. Lower it. Line up our holes. Come over just a little. There we go. All of the bolts and nuts are torqued to 38 foot-pounds. With our alternator, we're gonna set this back as well. We'll put our bolt back through, put on a few threads, and we're just gonna tap on this with a hammer. Let me get it real quick. Set it on something solid. There we go. Now this will go on a lot easier. Slide it in. Put the top one in first. There we go, just a few threads is all it needs for now. Feed in our bottom one. Suck them down. The big one down below is 43 foot-pounds. 18 foot-pounds for the top one. Let's plug it all in. Our nut for our electrical connector, just good and snug. It doesn't have to be too tight. You definitely don't want to strip it. We have our AC connector. Plug that in. We got that little harness retainer in the front. And then our last connector. Nice. We have our protector here. Okay, let's hop down. We'll put our crank pulley on and our power steering pump. Let's throw our crank position sensor on real quick. Just snug it down. For our crank, we'll put just a little oil right here, just for our seal. We'll slide it on, line up our keyway. Now this is torqued to 102 foot-pounds. To get an accurate torque, you'll need that crank pulley tool. Put our power steering pump on. Now hopefully it'll just slide right on because we pushed those dowels back. Oh yeah, nice. I've struggled with that in the past because I didn't know about those dowels before. Put our nut on. For the top nut, I'm gonna feed it into my socket first. That'll give me a little extra length on it. I'm not able to get a torque wrench on here, but it is torqued to 27 foot-pounds. So we'll just estimate what that is. That feels good. Wow, we're getting close. Let's throw on our serpentine belt. I'll throw the belt routing on the screen so you can have it. Just loosen the tensioner nice and slowly, and putting it over the alternator last, I think is how you want to do it. All right, let loose. Nice. If you'd like, we can put that plastic cover on down below, throw the tire on, and then lower the whole vehicle. You can do that now or later. Now for prepping the head, we're gonna take a clean rag and just wipe around the whole perimeter. Just get it good and clean, wipe off any grit, any old oil. We'll do that all the way around. Now we're gonna take a fresh rag, put some brake clean on it. And then right where the timing cover and the head meet, there's that little seam. We're gonna get that nice and oil-free. We're gonna put RTV right there. Now for our valve cover, we're just gonna take off the old gasket. You can use a pick just like this. We're just gonna pick it out of the channel. Just pull it away, nice and easy. Ooh, this one's pretty stuck, but just pull it away best you can. Just pick it and pull. That's the ticket. Get it all the way off. There we go. Now we're just gonna clean out the channel. You can use some brake clean, you can use an air hose, or just wipe it with a rag. Once that's done, we'll put our valve cover gasket on. Just lay it right in the channel. It goes on just one way, nice and easy. Just squish it in, line it up, and that's pretty good. We're gonna take some brake clean. Right where the valve cover gasket is gonna hit that RTV on the head side, we wanna make sure that is nice and oil-free. All right, now we'll just put a little dab, about a pea size is all you need, just on that crease. Nice. Put our valve cover on, just set it in like that. Make sure nothing's pinched underneath it, no wires, any hoses. Make sure it's sitting nice and flush. Nice, now we'll drop our bolts in. Just get them hand started at first. We got our little bracket over here we'll put in. Suck them down. And we'll torque them. We'll put our bracket over here back on. We have our ignition coils, put those in. Put those bolts in. Plug our electrical connectors in. We got our harness retainer, put those bolts in just snug. Plug our hose in over here. Plug this all back in here. I think that is it. Hey, looking good. We'll put our battery back on, just snug, put our cover, and we're done. It's a medium-sized job with a few intricate steps, so assess your skill level before tackling this one, but it is doable. The very next thing we want to do is fill it up with coolant. I'll have the bleeding procedure up on the screen. You can pause here, just run through it real quick. It's not too bad. I hope your repair goes well. I'll have links in the description for all the parts and tools used. If you have any questions, comments, post down below. See you on the next one.